All right. Welcome
All right.
to the diner, and here we go with this edition of Burgers and Fries. So I am Anthony. We have Greg. We have Tony, and we got another panelist today. Please welcome Pat. How you doing today, Pat?
I am doing well.
Well, happy for you to join. So we're going to definitely have fun doing this one, where we're talking about the downfall of Disney. So
Oh yes.
before we talk about basically what Disney has become, why don't we go over like some of our best memories of Disney, some of our best movies or whatever. So I will start with Tony. Okay, what would be your favorite Disney movie?
Well, it depends on the genre. Animated was probably Alice in Wonderland. Live action would probably be Mary Poppins, and I also liked Cinderella and Robin Hood and the original Parent Trap, and like there's a lot to name, but I don't really. If I name all of them, we'll be here forever.
Greg,
Aladdin.
good choice.
Ursula, Mulan, Beauty and the Beast. I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. So Pat, any Disney movies that you absolutely cherish?
Well, I remember The Lion King was probably my first ever Disney animated movie I ever watched growing up. So that one's number one. I think second would be The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan, Tarzan. I don't know if this one counts as Disney. Kiki's Delivery Service. And the Parent Trap remake with Lindsay Lohan was really good too. I mean, I could go on forever. Really.
Animated wise, and let's say Disney Renaissance, I absolutely love Beauty and the Beast. I love Aladdin King. I love Lion King. And then in terms of the live action stuff, all right, I definitely like the Pirates movies. I even have a soft spot for the fourth and the fifth one. The second one I think is the best of all of them, and the soundtrack, the score of the second one is the best out of all of them. When you go with the Davy Jones theme and the Kraken theme.
Oh, yeah.
And then in terms of Pixar, I would definitely have to go back with the first two Toy Story movies. And then we can go on a sidetrack a little bit. Tony, do you remember playing any of the Disney video games that you would like to briefly list and say which ones you like?
Oh, I have a few of them I like DuckTales is good, Donald Duck Going Quackers, Mickey Speedway USA, and that Goofy Home movie one for the PlayStation. Yeah, those are a list of them I like. Yeah.
Did you ever play the Kingdom Hearts games?
Yeah, but not much though. I don't know. I just couldn't get into them much, but I'm gonna try and get into them again.
Okay, not that you have to or you don't. Just a simple question. Greg or Pat, either one, would you like? Or were there any Disney video games that you enjoyed playing?
I remember I used to play the Aladdin game on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
You never played the Genesis version?
No.
The Genesis version was better, my friend.
I know it had a sword and
love
everything. Got to use a sword and everything.
Genesis.
It was just
Alright.
it was just a more complete game. But no, that's still no. And I actually did remember playing the Super Nintendo version of Aladdin too. My babysitter's house used to have it, so it was definitely one of the games. The score on it was great to listen to, no matter which version you were playing. One game I also had as a kid was The Lion King, and it was notoriously difficult for a Disney game that was supposed to be made for kids, because they purposely wanted to make it difficult because they wanted to make it challenging. But you go into the second level, and all of a sudden there's this huge puzzle that no 6-year-old is gonna figure out.
Yeah, I also forgot to mention. There's also Toy Story 2 and Bugs Life. Those were good games on the PS1 and 64. I forgot to mention about those.
The Toy Story on the Genesis, my
Toy Story
sister.
2.
But I'm telling you, is my sister and I played the Toy Story first game on the Genesis, and usually, okay, I would always have to play the levels that she couldn't beat. So the boss fight with Buzz Lightyear or the driving stages were usually my forte, while she would usually do the side-scrolling and the regular platforming stuff. And then I always felt useful. Like, yay, I'm useful with my sister because she was older than me. But then when she figured out how to beat the levels that I could beat, I felt so heartbroken. Like, no, I don't get to play.
Yeah, because like, I had it on the Super Nintendo. That game was very, very hard.
We managed.
Short.
We could never really play it all the way through. We always got to a certain point, but anytime we did play it together, there was always memories there. Gentlemen, when do you think Disney started to fall apart?
Can I go first?
Sure.
Probably around 2004, sir. 2004, 2005. Like, that's when it kind of went downhill when they started like rehashing all the same genre, same franchises and shit and everything. Like, nothing against Pirates of the Caribbean, but those movies were so boring. They're a cure for insomnia. Literally,
The third one is boring. I will no. I will understand. The third one was boring. The second one was great. And the score by Hans Zimmer was fire, dude. You were missing. You don't know what you're talking about.
Of course, like also Disney Channel. The Disney. Can we talk about the Disney Channel in a little bit?
Of
Like,
course.
like-
You can absolutely talk about the Disney Channel.
Like Disney Channel, that was some good memories there. My favorite show on there was Adventures in Wonderland. That was my favorite show on there, and I remember all the great shows on there. Kids Incorporated. I don't know. You ever heard of Kids Incorporated?
No, and
No.
please don't go through a huge long synopsis of it.
I'm not. All I'm saying is like it was about this band that they covered songs from the '80s and '70s and stuff like that. Stacey Ferguson, aka Fergie from Black Eyed Peas, was in that show. That's how she started off. Jennifer Love Hewitt and Martika.
Was she
We'll say
rapping
that's
about
the
her
only person-
underwear? Was she rapping about her underwear in that show?
No, and she was actually singing, and she was a great
So
singer.
she was singing about her underwear on a Disney show. Okay.
You're funny. But yeah, like that was a good show. I like music. That was a great show there. Disney's Lunchbox, which had all those classic cartoons on there, and Under the Umbrella Tree, which is my buddy Yogi's favorite show, and all the cartoons like Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, Goof Troop. Definitely Goof Troop's one of my favorites, and Pooh Corner and stuff, and all the
Poop?
classics too.
Poop
You had
Corners?
it.
What kind of
When
show
I
is
was-
named
when I-
Poop Corners?
Pooh, as in Winnie the Pooh. Oh, I get it. Ha ha, a joke. Ha, I get it.
You
Winnie
have
the Pooh.
you have no sense of humor, Tony. Jesus.
Sorry, but like you think about how great Disney Channel was and what
Well,
it is now and everything.
I can't think of how great Disney Channel was because you know why? I never watched the Disney Channel. So before
Oh, you missed out.
I'm sure
Anthony,
you
you
know
missed
what?
out.
I'm sure I did. But
I
before I talk
remember
about
you brought it up in your.
yeah, you do remember
I'm
that,
sorry.
but before I talk about
I watched a lot of your rants back in the day, so I remember you mentioned that.
well, I'm sure I'm going to be mentioning it here. But before I talk about little memories that I have of the Disney Channel, which were more associated with my older brother and his daughter than with me, Greg and Pat, would you like to talk about the Disney Channel?
Yes.
Okay. What would you like to say
Well-
about the Disney Channel?
I mean, like it started out okay. Like I remember liking The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
I do remember
really
though. I
watch
do
them.
remember the stars of Zach and Cody playing the kid from Big Daddy.
Yes, I actually did watch Big Daddy for the first time a few years ago on TV, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually a good Adam
I did
Sandler
know
movie. That deserves to be a worst to best video, as all the Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah. So if I may continue,
Go ahead, go for it.
Let's see. I also loved American Dragon Jake Long and Kim Possible. The Proud Family was one of my absolute favorites growing up.
I remember enjoying a lot was Kim Possible and the Proud Family.
Lizzie McGuire was a good show. I like it. I'm a
It
Hillary
was
Duff fan.
okay.
Oh, Hillary
I like
Duff.
Hillary Duff.
Hillary Duff can walk into my doorstep anytime.
Yeah, I always liked how
Same.
how she always got grounded at the end of each episode.
Well, she definitely got hotter as she got older. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and
Oh.
she stayed clear of drugs and
Yeah.
alcohol.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
You got to listen to Hillary Duff, a good role model.
Listen to your mom and dad; they know better.
All right.
Well, unless you like Bieber.
What?
Justin Bieber was not a Disney star, was he? Or was he a YouTube guy that
Selena
kinda crossed-
Gomez. Selena
So-
Gomez was a Disney star. His
I
ex-girlfriend,
heard he
Selena
was
Gomez.
originally from Canada.
Yeah, he got found.
Yeah,
he got,
so that
he was on
automatically
YouTube.
makes him a Disney star. Oh, he's from Canada. That's
No.
where all the Disney stars are from.
No, he was founded on YouTube by Usher. Usher discovered him.
Usher,
Oh.
you should have looked somewhere else.
Isn't Usher the one from Geppetto with Drew Carey?
No, Usher's a singer.
Yeah, I actually do remember now Usher played the evil ringmaster in Geppetto.
I don't know if that was a Disney one though. That might have been another adaptation.
It was a direct-to-video Disney film.
It
Okay.
was from the Wonderful World of Disney, so that counts.
Oh, then Then I stand corrected there. So my oldest brother, all right, rest in peace, moved to Montana in basically 2005. So
boy.
No, and that is why when his daughter, who now just gave birth to her own daughter not too long ago, so my late brother is now a grandfather. Because Hannah Montana had the name Montana, he was immediately a fan of Hannah Montana. So he would always sing the words to the theme song of Hannah Montana. He'd go, "You put the limo out front." But again, I can't blame him because that was a bond he had with his daughter. How can you blame the guy?
You can't, actually.
You really can't do that. All right, it's no different than bronies being fans of My Little Pony because they like it with their daughter. Okay, that's okay.
I'm actually a brony myself, as you may have noticed my pony icon.
Well, then you would have seen the rant where I 100% defended you.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so honored.
I've done a bronies rant, and I basically said, "Hey, there's really nothing wrong with bronies. Lay off."
I am extremely honored. Thanks, Anthony.
No problem. So that's what it was. So then I remember saying, "Oh, it's got Billy Ray Cyrus on it." And then when I stayed in Montana for like a week, and this is after my brother had passed, my niece was always having the Disney Channel on. So they were always watching the Disney Channel specials, whether it was High School Musical, which I thought was just 100% lame. But hey, you got Zac Efron out of it, and he became kind of a big star. He's actually going to play Kevin Von Erich in a movie about the wrestling family, the Von Erichs. So
what about Vanessa Hudgens and Ashley Tisdale and all them? What are they up to now? I mean, I know Ashley Tisdale's probably got her own thing. I think she has a kid now and everything. She's married.
Yeah, so
Isn't she going to be in the Phineas and Ferb revival or something?
I don't know. Like I said, but clearly we've got big stars from that era that was happening during the formative years of my niece and nephew of the time. So even though I basically, as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, was going, "What the fuck is this shit?" Actually, no. My brother died when I was 19. So when I was a 17-year-old is when I was thinking, "What is this shit?" But again, it wasn't meant for me. It was meant for that generation, and now that generation is all grown up. Well, you said you don't like the Pirates movies, but you say that.
I'll talk about other stuff like Hannah Montana seemed bad. It's actually not as bad compared to how we thought it was.
Well, Hannah Montana is nothing compared to the Miley Cyrus bangers era that just would not leave me alone.
Oh, you talking about like Wrecking Ball and all that stuff?
Exactly. And then all of a sudden she appears on Saturday Night Live as an unannounced person to announce she's on tour. I'm like, go away, Miley. Go away.
I actually have a crush on Miley myself.
She actually is a decent-looking person. I mean, and when she actually grew her hair back and she started looking more like an actual girl versus whatever the hell the bangers era was, I can get that.
Doing drugs too,
right? And she actually does, and she does have talent. I did like the song "The Climb" that she did when she was still in. I kind of like she was transitioning out of the Hannah Montana days. So I'm not going to say that she's not talented, that she's not a hell of a performer. Like, she deserves, her album sales and her concert tours. By all means.
If you see Miley Cyrus, can you send her to my apartment?
Only if you send me Hillary Duff.
Or Lindsay Lohan or whatever.
Lindsay Lohan before the drugs. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
And you can send me Kelly Marie Tran.
Why Kelly Marie Tran? You mean Rose?
Yes.
Okay, so you like her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well then again, you're the one who, if you were a certain wrestler, you eventually be saying, "I get to make love to my hot Asian wife." So
I would also
power
pick
power
Mila
to you, Greg.
Kunis.
Absolutely.
I would also pick Mila Kunis.
Yes, Mila Kunis from that '70s show. Absolutely. All right, so now we're talking. Now we're going into the meat of the matter. All right, so let's talk about the Disney parks for a little bit. All right, so I can start here first because I used to have an annual pass along with my ex girlfriend, eventually ex-wife at the time. So we used to go pretty regularly up until maybe 2013 or 2014. Um, that and then I think the passes just got way too expensive for us out of our budget. But it was fun to go on a weekday when nobody was there and not have to do the lines. And it was for the deal that we were getting, where it was like a monthly payment. Like it was worth it. But for you guys, have you ever visited Disneyland or Disney World? What are your experiences?
Oh yeah, Disney World. I've been there at least 6 or 7 times, and I do have a heart for Disney World and stuff like that. Even though they made changes to some of the rides in Magic Kingdom, like the Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and everything, Disney World itself still had that magical feel to it. Like I went to a big state of depression back in 2013. That place cured my depression. I felt a lot better. And I'm not gonna name everything I enjoy about the park, but I can say like I enjoy like my rides like Space Mountain and my Mansion Pirates of the Caribbean, Magic Kingdom, and Epcot through Spaceship Earth and Test Track and that one human body race or no that one human body ride, I forget what it's called and stuff and of course there's also in Disney Hollywood Studios at MGM you have the Star Tours ride, which I know Anthony would definitely.
Oh, of course I remember Star Tours.
Yeah, but they changed it around. It's C-3PO would be as your guide, not Captain Rex anymore, but that's okay. And Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster starring your favorite band, Aerosmith.
My favorite band is Metallica, not Aerosmith.
I'm joking. I had to say that to get a reaction out of you. And, like, of course, like, all that stuff. I mean...
But you're the same person who grouped Nickelback and Slayer in the same music category, so you should definitely be talking to me about favorite bands.
Yes, of course, I know.
Raining Blood! Look at this photograph!
I actually did go on the Aerosmith ride when I went on my senior class trip to Florida. It was really awesome. I also went on the Tower of Terror, the Buzz Lightyear ride, and I think I even saw the Monsters Inc. laugh floor. It was all fun.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just that if you want to see Mickey Mouse nowadays, only place you can see it is in the park. They don't really show him much on the channels anymore and stuff.
That's
because a lot of people who visit there are there for nostalgia purposes.
Yeah, because
it's your only connection to what Disney used to be. Now, speaking of before Disneyland, okay, I got something about my dad. My dad actually was on a farm. Okay, believe it or not, Orange County used to be a huge amount of farms in the 1950s. All right, so they actually knew somebody who lived on a farm on Ball Road. All right, which is where Disneyland is, and he took my dad. He says, "Hey, hey Simon, come here." That's my dad's name. Simon, come check this out. And hey, you see all those construction cranes and all that stuff over there? See all that land they're clearing out? That's going to be some place they call Disneyland. So my dad actually got to see the place before it got constructed. I remember going to see it in the 90s. So it was a very enjoyable experience for the times that I went. But obviously, all right, especially when you come to the recent years, all right, with the acquisitions of Marvel and then you have the acquisitions of Star Wars, they turned Toontown into Star Wars Land. Now, do you guys ever remember going to Toontown before they turned it into Star Wars Land?
I never even been to either of them.
Well, that's fine.
Yes.
So Toontown was a kind of a kid-friendly place. So they usually had all the kiddie playgrounds in the Toontown area because there really wasn't much of a ride place. Now, and then again, they've then turned it into the Star Wars Land, the Rise of the Resistance thing. And a lot of people definitely did not like the fact that the Star Wars Land they pushed was largely sequel trilogy instead of it being original trilogy. And then they made a Star Wars hotel where for several $1,000s for 2 nights, you can do a Star Wars themed fantasy stay at a Star Wars hotel. And
Ish.
even a friend of mine, a family friend of mine who is the biggest Star Wars fan on the planet, as was even quick to call him out and going, "Are you out of your mind? What could possibly justify this price tag?"
Because Star Wars is $1 billion franchise. It's so popular. Was I close?
Well, they thought that it would bank off its popularity, but here's the thing. Guess what trilogy they based this Star Wars hotel off of?
The prequels, let me guess.
No, the sequels.
Oh, God.
The Disney movies.
I
They based it
kinda
off of
knew
the
that.
sequels. So no, you don't get to see Darth Vader being cosplayed. You don't get to see any of that. No, you get a cosplay of some of the sequel trilogy characters that a huge division of the audience does not like.
No, I'm not
That's
so sure if I
what
want
made
to go
people say, "No, fuck this."
there.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds very disappointing. I don't know if I'd go now.
Well, and then imagine going to the Disney parks now where the prices are basically out of range for a lot of people. And not only were they charging more, but giving less. Obviously, you pay more for a piece of food, but the piece of food is smaller than it used to be. Like that's that's trying to
boy.
build things.
I
All of-
never actually ate the food there.
Sometimes we did, but like getting a little pretzel or a snack there. But again, like imagine going to the Disney parks for years and you notice, wait a minute, this costs more, but this is smaller. It's not as big as it used to be. Like what the f?
Well, I would think that both Disneyland and Disney World are owned by the same company, so...
What gave that away?
Well, the name it's in the name, Disney.
That's right, Pat. It is in the name. All right. Next you're going to tell me Joe Biden is the president of the United States. Wait, he is?
Technically, he is.
He ain't
Technically,
my
he is.
president. He ain't my president.
Oh,
I'd rather deal with Trump than the other guy.
It's all right. All right. So
And
now
we
No,
should
we
get
got
back on
Tony to blame
track.
for that.
that's okay.
We should probably get back on track.
It's fine. We're having fun. We're doing this. So this is fun. People who might be listening might actually enjoy this. All right. So let's
Yeah.
start getting into the meat of the matter. We've talked about the Disney parks. We've talked about the Disney Channel. All right. So let's talk about what Disney has been recently doing. All right. Now, when I mean recent, Tony, I don't mean 2004. I mean the stuff that they've been doing like literally 2 to 3 years ago. All right.
Yeah.
So anything about something recent Disney has been doing that Tony really grinds your gears.
Well, the fact that they gone all woke and everything like that, and did all that stuff with all the movies and shows and everything like that, just that it makes Disney a shadow that it once was.
So how has Disney gone woke?
Well, the way they cater towards the LGBTQ
And not to mention something from one of their rebooted show called The Proud Family, Prouder and Louder.
I actually have not finished watching that. No spoilers, please.
Well, they did an episode about well,
Oh
Where
yeah,
they-
I did. I know what you're gonna talk about. I've heard about it.
oh yeah, about guilt tripping people, about slavery and all that.
Yeah,
Oh, good God.
the Next News Network covered it.
And it's kind of funny that they talked about the white slave owners a long time ago, but they want to talk about the black slave owners of America.
So recently, like the one that's about to come out is the Snow White remake, all right? Where I believe Rachel Zegler isn't a white person. So you have Snow White, basically the characteristic that made her name is now darker skinned. What?
And where we're supposed to call her now? Snow Brown.
Well, Full Metal Jacket, you had Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, as a joke, named the black guy Private Snowball.
Oh, I remember that one.
At least you'll have Wonder Woman as the evil queen. It's ironic because the evil queen looks better than the actual Snow White. I thought the whole point of it was the evil queen was jealous of Snow White's beauty.
Mhm.
I could be wrong,
that's what it was. Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see how they tackle the evil queen.
Right, and then I don't even think it's going to be the seven dwarfs. I think it's going to be the seven companions.
Or the seven Tokenism characters.
I mean, God forbid we should ever call our movie the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We might actually upset the dwarf community.
Oh no, you might offend somebody. Oh no. It's fine. Again, they could have had black dwarfs in it. They could have had Latino dwarfs. I mean, as far as I know, dwarfism exists in all races. So you could have had seven dwarfs of all different races, and that's fine. Like, what? Why do they need to make one dwarf and then the rest of them something else?
Because
they're afraid of offending people.
They act like they're afraid of offending people, and then they're the ones who will edit out all the LGBT friendly stuff from the Chinese releases because they don't want to offend the Chinese. But they still want to push that stuff on the American audiences. But God forbid they don't get Chinese money.
And what you mentioned about when the Doors first heard about them being replaced, they were not happy about it.
I'd imagine you could have provided jobs for people. What are you doing? So Rachel Zegler has recently been quoted as saying, "We absolutely wrote a Snow White that is not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming of true love. She's dreaming about becoming a leader that she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true." So they're making her into a Mary Sue. As if they haven't learned what making characters a Mary Sue has done to the Star Wars universe.
It's just like what they do with Princess Jasmine in the Will Smith Aladdin remake.
Well, I actually was fine with the Princess Jasmine character in the Aladdin remake. I was actually cool with the song that she sang about breaking free, but then immediately after that, she goes right back into the dumbass in distress. We can talk about the whole live action Disney remake stuff, and sure, and I really don't like to be using the word woke all that often, okay, but there are people that will say, oh, well, it's because of woke BS that these movies are failing, or they're not making as much money as they used to be. But but if you listen to somebody who, actually does consider himself more woke, but still dislikes those movies, it's because they're just sick of the same thing. They're sick of Disney not having any more original ideas. Or when they do include LGBTQ-friendly characters, they're not written well. They're not written compellingly. Case in point, you had the movie Strange Worlds, which bombed at the box office. All right? And if you talk to people who say they don't mind the inclusion, they just didn't like the way the characters were written. They didn't like the story. They didn't like the presentation. They thought the movie was boring. However, you say anything bad about those movies and you're instantly labeled a bigot. Even if you didn't mention the fact that the main character is gay in that movie. Oh, you're a right-wing bigot. No, I just don't like the movie. Bigot!
It's kind of like how, there were people that didn't like Black Panther and people started labeling them as racist.
All right, so we're talking about the girl boss stuff, and there's probably numerous examples. We can also talk about the live-action Little Mermaid remake. Now, we've already gone over the race-swapping issue, okay? Me, personally, I love redheads. If I have a preference, that's where I'm going to go for, all right? But, okay, am I a fan of a redheaded character getting replaced by a black person? No. Especially because redheads are represented less. They are more rare than African-American people. So what little representation they do have has already been recast. So of course I'm not a fan of that. I can recognize Halle Bailey being a great singer. Is she a great actress? Not necessarily. But here's the other kicker about the Little Mermaid remake. Ariel does the finishing blow. It's not Eric.
That didn't make much sense.
It's not Eric who does the finishing blow on Ursula. It's Ariel.
I think the reason why they did that is because, if a man saves a woman, that's sexist.
Well, they're forgetting the fact that in the 1989 Little Mermaid, Ariel saved Eric several times. Ursula was going after Ariel because Ariel killed Flotsam and Jetsam, who were attacking Eric. She also saved Eric from a storm and on a shipwreck. Ariel is a very competent heroine in the movie Eric and Ariel actually work off of each other, and it's Eric's actions that compel Triton to basically say, "Oh, okay, I can accept humans now," after previously not accepting humans. So they completely throw that all out the window just so they can make Ariel the girl boss. And then they wonder why people don't like the live action remakes anymore.
When I first saw the Little Mermaid remake, I kind of took it for what it was, just a passable film, but now looking back on it, yeah, maybe, you guys definitely have a point. It's definitely not as good.
They took away the comic relief stuff, like with Sebastian and the Chef, which was one of the best parts of the original movie.
Yeah, it's like, where was Chef Louis?
Like, why would you take out the good stuff in this movie?
Because Disney wants to be bland and boring.
Well, and then speaking of bland and boring, look what they did to the Beauty and the Beast remake. Like, Beauty and the Beast...
I actually did not mind
It's Beauty and the Beast remake. Okay, the original movie is what, like 90 minutes? All right? How is it that 90 minutes in the original movie tells the story at a much better pace, at a much, let's say, a much easier pace to follow than the movie that's 2 hours plus long? Movies that are supposed to extend scenes to tell the story more don't do that. They don't tell the story as good as before.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'll always enjoy the animated version over the live action one, but the live action film did have some positives, I think, but my only complaint was they didn't really do anything with the time travel multiversal book they introduced. I'm like, what was even the point of that?
I don't know. And again, I'm not saying that the original Beauty and the Beast was perfect. I mean, it's Stockholm Syndrome. It's a girl who gets kidnapped to be imprisoned in a guy's tower, and then she eventually marries the guy or falls in love with him. Granted, yes, Beast does save her from a pack of wolves, and then they actually start falling in love. But still, by all means, Beast kidnapped her in place of her sick father being in prison. Well, think of what I mean. So speaking of Greg's crush, Kelly Marie Tran, I have been told, or I've read, that she was inserted into the movie so she could appeal to the Asian audiences, even though she's Vietnamese and Chinese hate Vietnamese.
Really?
Asian countries hate each other. Koreans and Japanese hate each other. Chinese and Koreans hate each other. Like, you want to talk about countries that are the most racist toward each other? It's not even a joke. Now, arguably, yes, is there a reason in history why they should hate each other? Sure, but no. They put Rose Tico's character in there to appease the Asian audiences and try to appease more viewers in Asia, but doesn't really do much for China, which is why you don't really see her in the third sequel movie.
I thought it was because she was, well, I'll say this: I like Rose. I think she's cute and all that, but I do understand why she's hated. I do get that.
Her character was just not very well written, and all of a sudden, we get the most interesting character in episode 7, who is John Boyega's character, Finn, and now all of a sudden he's a side character. You could literally have taken out Finn and not missed anything. Like you wouldn't have even noticed him there if you went along Rose's side story. And then, of course, there's the part where on the Chinese poster, they shrunk Finn's character down to make him almost unnoticeable on the poster because again, Chinese people are not very fond of blacks. And again, then you have the Mulan thing where Disney credits actively thanked the province that was holding concentration camps for Uyghur Muslims, where Mulan was filmed.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, Disney has just been doing a lot of hypocritical things. Why does it feel like every movie nowadays is getting more and more political? Like if you talk about the race swapping in Little Mermaid, all of a sudden you're racist. And that's a political thing. You talk about the diversity in Snow White. Oh, you're racist.
I would say Bob Cheapheck. Yeah, I'm calling him Bob Cheapheck. He probably started.
I like that. Cheapheck. Bob Cheapheck.
Yeah.
All right.
And the other Bob Ignorant.
There you go. So, a lot of people, they say the pandemic was another cause of Disney going downhill. People, again, like I'm listening, like another friend who doesn't want to chat but listed some of the reasons. But if Disney wants to fix things, do we agree that they need to embrace what made Disney so endearing? Make good films.
Yes.
Stop pandering
Yes.
to the fringe minority of individuals who don't think for the majority of the people.
Yes,
Mhm.
and also bring back hand-drawn animation.
I agree.
Because-
They really should keep up with the hand-drawn animation, even if it's done on a computer.
Absolutely.
Do hand-drawn animation movies and do the 2D.
But they're going to
Well-
come forth and say something like, "Oh, well, we can't no longer do a hand-drawn animation because it's too expensive." Well, you guys were able to buy Star Wars, Marvel, and Fox.
Exactly. I think what started the Disney transition to CGI was probably ever since Pixar came out with Toy Story and DreamWorks came out with Shrek. They probably figured, well, maybe we should capitalize on the success of CGI.
No, they rightfully so did say that no, CGI is the future. And I get it, and I get why.
I thought it was Shrek. I thought maybe Shrek did that.
Well, Shrek came out in 2000, I think. But again, we also feel like that a lot of the movies that they're doing now just either it's oversaturated with the remakes, which they're basically they're butchering everything that made the films that they remade so good, and then the original ideas that they're doing just don't feel all that compelling. You have the Buzz Lightyear movie, which a lot of people didn't like because it just wasn't the movie they expected.
I probably would much
Mhm.
prefer Buzz Lightyear with Star Command.
There you go. And would you agree that Disney and pretty much a lot of Hollywood movies just really gotta cut back on the politics at the door?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. All right. So tune in next time and come back to the diner for the next Burgers and Fries episode. I'm Desert Cut 22. Thanks for listening.